That'll only take place during the assigned damage. So having a look at the gun symbol, so targeting I get 1, targeting I get 1. So 2 dice, and I really don't have a choice. I'm going to spend this extra command point on targeting. So that's spent, I can't use it later for damage. It's just if I don't make this roll, then damage is useless anyway. So we need an automatic hit. I'll re-roll that dice. So far no good. Show me auto hit. No. So 5 is of course not enough, and so Nick's efforts were wasted. Okay, so Soundbite player made the right call by not interrupting and laying that play out. So now over to the Soundbite player's turn. We will be moving. We're actually going to move Kendall first, and the reason for that is that the NORAD side is able to interrupt when... Or no, what? No, we'll move Jacksaw to block line of sight, and then we'll move Kendall. Let's do that. So Jack's looking to block some line of sight here, so just a very simple movement. We won't use anything crazy. So activate Jacksaw, choosing to attach this order tile to him will give me 3 movement. 1, 2, 3. Now it wouldn't be a bad idea to attack Nick Bolter. I don't think that I have that I would have had the order tiles and the available command points to do both, so to get to him and make a strong close combat attack. So I think that's the best that we can do, and that'll free up Kendall for a run down the line. And of course the reason I'm staying on this side of the map is because there's a close door, and you're furthest away from the NORAD side. Okay, cool. Over to the NORAD player. Vasquez has a sniper rifle, and so just to be super thematic, I am absolutely sending her down to here to shoot at players as they come down that line, and I'll just hopefully roll automatic hits. Okay, so let's see what that starts looking like. Let's attach this fantastic order tile. Look at that movement. It's almost wasted on Vasquez. No, at 12 should be enough to get me across. So I'm at, whoops, she's on her wounded side, so be careful with that mistake. So the red side's up, it should be the blue side. So I'm activating Vasquez, and I'm choosing to attach this order tile. And I'll do the 2 points straight away. So 2 points giving me 12 movement in the case of Vasquez. 1. So because I'm crossing paths with James Wu, if I wanted to, we could exchange equipment at no cost. So if I wanted to switch these guns, I could. And you can do that with all equipment, except for in the case of this scenario, they're not allowed to do that with the serum. So John Kendall's unwilling to give it up. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've entered line of sight with just Holster. So do they want to interrupt? Having a look at these tiles. What would she do if she interrupted? She would shoot me, which is pretty awesome. Shoot me with what? With 1, so no extra dice. That could still work. Sure, they'll interrupt. They don't want it too badly. However, they kind of do. They see what Vasquez is up to. They see that she could get the ridiculous line shot, so they do want it enough that they can move and then shoot back at her for being a little jerk. So we'll spend 3. Over on this side, how much do we care? I don't think, looking at command points, I don't know if we care enough. I want to show you guys that snipe, just in case it actually works, but looking at the tokens I have and stuff, I don't think they're going to spend any. They'll spend the 1 to make sure that the Soundbites don't get it cheap. And that'll be it. So reveal, and those points are spent, but the Soundbite successfully got the interrupt. So Vasquez is on pause, mid-movement. So interrupted by Jess Holster, we can attach an order tile to her, and we want one with both movement and the shoot action. Movement to block her line of sight to Kendall, and then shoot just because Vasquez is kind of being a jerk to them, trying to kill their leader. So 1 movement will give us 5. I don't even think we're interested in that much, though. We'll just do 1. And then for our second order section, so during an interrupt, you can use a maximum of only 2 order sections. And that's something that I've never surpassed before, but just in case it ever happens. Okay, so that gives me a gun symbol, which is enough to activate the shoot order. So because I've spent the point, the other player does check and says, okay, yes, you do have line of sight. So it does go through, and then we first off check for targeting. Looking at the gun symbol, it's 2 dice plus 2 automatic spaces. So here we go, a bit of luck and we're there. An automatic hit, great, so no matter what, we made it. And now we get to roll for damage. So Vasquez here is in Just Holster's dark red arc, and so we look at the corresponding gun, and it's going to be 2 dice. So 2 damage, and we put that up against Vasquez's armor, which is 3, so it's actually not enough to do anything, but still a good effort. She made the targeting roll. Unfortunate that she didn't do damage, but she protected Kendall, and that was the main objective. And that's the end of the interrupt. She couldn't do more even if she could, or she couldn't do more even if she had more available sections, because she used 2 sections, which is the max you can use during an interrupt. So back over to Vasquez. I know we were mid-stride. I'm just going to recount. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So she still has 3 more movements available. And she'll go 4, 5. She'll stop there and have a shot at Just Holster. Kendall is in fact out of line of sight because of this. If I had a string, guaranteed it would be crossing through this to get to there. Okay. And so we'll attach. Let's go for it. If we can kill Just Holster, that'll be a huge help, and then her equipment also becomes available, which could be handy. So Vasquez has a maximum equipment of our command point of 5, so we'll spend 3 on this, and this will be the last thing she does this turn. And so she spent the points. The other player checks that Vasquez does in fact have line of sight, and then we go to targeting. So 2 dice for targeting by default. The sniper rifle gives an extra 3. Now looking at the distance we're at, this should be more than enough. So you could choose to roll fewer, just out of fear of rolling that out of ammo symbol. I'm just going to go for it. I'll roll all of them and probably suffer the consequences. No, a lot of luck. So it would have gone through no matter the distance, and then we got a bunch of other stuff too. Great. So it went through, and now I'm going to roll for damage. So again, the red arc there. So Vasquez is going to get to use this red portion on the weapon. So 2 dice. And I'll spend the extra 2 command points on 2 more dice. So getting to roll 4 here. Sorry, and I'll re-roll the 1 on the ground. Okay. So not bad. So 2 automatic hits, which will count straight away. Just in case that turns over a character card. In this case it doesn't. And then we have 2 damage left there, 2 damage to go against her 3 armor, and so that won't go through. Alright, so over to the Salamite player's side. So they have the choice of either activating Just Holster or John Kendall. And I do want to get John Kendall out of here, right, because Nick Boulder is going to attack again. But he can't do it next turn because they still have to activate James Wu. And Salamites don't have much in terms of movement, so what we're going to do is we're going to spend a command point and draw 1 from the bag and hope to get a good movement tile. Good. So 3, that's exactly what we were hoping for. Back over to the NORAD side, we have James Wu, who is over here on the map. And I do want him to be blocking these doors, but for now, it's still ideal to be shooting at John Kendall as he runs down this line. So I'm actually going to send him over this way, providing we have the movement for it. And we do, this one here. Great. So that's what we'll do. I'll activate him. I will choose to attach this order tile. And I know for a fact I can get away with doing 2 movements before anything else happens, or before line of sight or any sort of interruption. So that'll be 10 spaces here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's me entering line of sight for the first time. So now Jessica Holster She's not going to, you know. I don't know what she would do with what we drew. We're saving this one. And there's no shoot that she can do or anything like that. And she doesn't want to move out of the way because then that gives line of sight to Kendall. And so they won't interrupt, and the NORAD side will be able to resolve their movement. I think we were at 9 there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So one more spot, 10. And he will choose to attack Jess Holster. Now I'm not sure if this is the best play. Just because if it comes down to duking it out, fighting it out, the NORAD side should lose. But right now we're only dealing with one person, and we have to get her out of the way. So that's why I'm doing it. So 1 command point spent on the shoot order. The other player checks to make sure that line of sight's there, and of course it is. And so that the 1 is enough to initiate the shoot order. So the first thing we'll do is targeting. So 1 die from that, and then 1 more die from James Wu's grenade launcher. So putting us at 2 here. Oh wow, just enough. So with those 2 damage, we count 1, 2, so I was able to make it. 2 spaces of accurate shooting, and I got it. So now I get to roll for damage. James Wu's grenade launcher is a little bit interesting because it can hit things that are adjacent as well. However, there is nothing adjacent to Jess Holster in those corresponding squares, so it'll only be the central one, which we will roll the corresponding red. Now because, and I should have done this as soon as I did the targeting, because I shot the gun, so whether or not I'm accurate, so whether or not the targeting works, I still shot the gun. So there's 1 heart out of the 5 shots I'm allowed to use. Okay, so I'm going to roll the 3 dice, and we'll see how much damage this holster takes, if any. Alright, so fairly good. So we got 4 there, up against Jess Holster's 3, so that'll do 1 point of damage. Not too shabby. Cool. And that's the end of James Wu's turn. So just to be clear, my plan, even if it uses up all these bullets, because I don't know how effective hitting the adjacent area is going to be, because as much as I wanted them to from the Salamite side, they don't seem to be sticking together as a group very well. And so if I can just kill Jess, I can actually steal her gun, and that would be a huge help. Alright, so over to the Salamite side, we will finally engage John Kendall and try and get him out of there. So activate, not in anyone's line of sight, so he'll keep going, and he'll attach this order tile. He will be able to do all of his movements without being interrupted. So I'll attach those, and that'll be 9 movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And again, I haven't pointed this out, but the facing always 45 degrees, right guys? Okay. And that'll be the end of his turn. That's all he can do on that tile. Back over to the NORAD. 2 command points left. 2 order tiles left. Who can use them though? James Wu can still take commands, and as can Nick Bolter. So both of them can take 2 more commands. I don't have a high shooting value here, unfortunately. That would have been ideal. I'm debating, I'll think out loud, sorry, I'm debating between getting Nick Bolter back to help out with Kendall, or to get James Wu out of that corner to help out with Kendall. I'm gonna attach James Wu, and here's what I'm gonna do. They're both about the same. Okay. So I'm attaching this order tile to James Wu, so he's been reactivated. So first time in Jessica Holster's line of sight. Does she want to do anything? She doesn't, because she's protecting the line of sight from Kendall there. My first command point, I'm going to spend it on movement. So for James Wu, that'll be 5. Now I can't move through enemy characters, but I can move through friendly characters. So I'll go 1. I'm adjacent for the first time. Does she want to move? Or does she want to interrupt, I should say? I'm still going to say no. I don't think she would do anything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yeah, I think that's what I want to do. And now I have line of sight with Kendall, who probably does want to interrupt The problem with him interrupting is that he's only going to be able to move 3 squares, just because he can only spend 1 move point. So where would that get him? He could hide, and that's about it. If he had been counting, he knows that the NORAD player only has 1, so he could spend 2. And will he do that? Yeah, he will. So he says he'll interrupt, he secretly bids 2. The NORAD player is smart enough not to bid at all. And so these are spent, and now he will get to attach an order tile to John Kendall, who performed that interrupt. So we'll attach this here to him, and we'll spend our last command point on movement just to get him out of James Wu's line of sight. So 1, 2, 3. So this here is blocking. So a pretty smart turn. James Wu is now on unpaused, but he's done actually all he can do. The only thing he could do, no, not even. I was going to say he could shoot Jess Holster, but he can't because I faced the orientation so that the white is facing her. So he actually can't do anything to her either because he's not facing the proper direction. So that'll be it for him. Unfortunately, well done, Salamite players. And now finally, the Salamites have to activate Jess Holster, and or I guess they don't have any command points, so there's no point. They'll just pass. Back over to these guys. I'm freaking out now that Kendall is out there, so I'm actually going to spend another movement to get James Wu in Kendall's way. So 1 command point on movement on the order tile that's already here. Again, with movement, you can come back to it. Any other order section, you cannot. So that gives me 5 movement. And what I'm going to do is I just want line of sight so that if he moves, I can interrupt. So I'm not going to run to the door. I really want to start doing damage to him. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's where I'll stop. So any movement, any activation that he does, I can deal with. Salamite player has no more command points and will pass, as will the NORAD player, and that'll be the end of this round. So I'll refresh everything. The Salamite player will keep this order tile. The NORAD player will keep that tile, and the Salamite player will keep theirs as well. So I'll refresh the command points, everything, and you'll see me in a sec.